last topic, and a guy who's a potential, in my opinion, he's a top 5 pick. Another prospect that people are trying to figure out, but to me, it's kind of simple. Like, you got to do a 6'10" guy, handle, can shoot it. It's really simple to me, and but some people have different thoughts. But let's talk about GG Jackson. And there's been some rumors, some rumblings that that he should sit because South Carolina, not going to be good, especially now we're getting into conference play, and we know the SEC is just going to be tough, and they'll probably not be in contention to make a major postseason bid, get to the tournament. So there's been and we see this in college football, right? And we see it all the time in college football now, especially with the college football playoff, that kids are not opting out because they just obviously there's a higher risk in football, but there's a risk in basketball too. You tear your ACL or something can happen and your stock can go down. So people are saying there's no need for GG Jackson to play anymore at South Carolina, and he should just sit and all that. And this has been a topic for the last few days that I've seen. And that's why I wanted to talk about this, to end the show. And like I said, I think GG Jackson, whether he continues to play or not, top 5 pick. And I just mentioned 6'10", can handle the ball, 3-level potential scorer. Like, I'm not going to say he's KD, but my goodness, that's very KD-like. I'm just saying. And the fact that no one sees top 5 in him, I think is wild. And I think people are just focusing too much on, efficiency and assists to turnover. But I'm like, he ain't playing with guys that are going to be playing it than a lot of, next level players. So give me your thoughts on this, because I'll give you mine before I let you. If he does decide to opt out, I can understand. If it's because he wants to protect his future. But I don't see no harm in him playing. I think that could actually help him too. In his case, to just play and be like, I just want to hoop. And you never know what happens. Maybe South Carolina can, maybe he takes over and wins the SEC championship and they get to the tournament and, he does some type of stuff and that only does elevate, his game and his stock. So, what we're feeling about this whole GG Jackson should opt out stuff?
It's actually funny because I didn't hear nothing about this literally until you sent me something on it.
Yeah.
And then right after that, I literally just heard more and more about it. And I'm just like, what the hell is going on? And so me personally, I'm saying, forget all that, bro. Even if your team sucks, which they do, no offense to Lamont Butler in that program, or Lamont Paris in that program, excuse me. Yeah. But, bro, you've made it a commitment. You know what I'm saying? You throughout the summer, it was a lot of drama going on because he was originally committed to North Carolina after they fired Frank Martin at South Carolina. Originally, he always wanted to go and play and represent his home state of South Carolina. Then he decommits from North Carolina right after Peach Jam, and he goes back and commits to South Carolina. So it's like, you did all this. I heard they had Don Staley convince him to get there. They had Aaliyah Boston convince him to stay home. And they did everything for him. They brought out the entire circus for him, right? Bro, just play it out. Like, you have nothing to lose. Honestly, if anything, you have more to gain than you have by more to lose. You know what I'm saying? There's way more for you to gain because it's still things that he can work on. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you should try and fully maximize that. You should try and learn how to not be the feature guy because in the NBA, you're not going to be. You're going to have to learn how to be a role player. You know what I'm saying? You're going to not have the ball in your hands as much. So, like, it's still, like, defensively, he could be better. As you mentioned.
A lot better, yeah.
Exactly. As you mentioned, he's a hell of a scorer. He can pull up and get to that shot whenever he literally wants to, but it's things to work on. I'm going to say this. A lot of people might get angry at me for this, but I've always kind of felt like this, and Stephon Marbury said this too, so I always use that as a fallback option, but it's harder to score in college basketball than the NBA right now because the spacing,
it's a fact. It's a fact.
The spacing is a lot more compact. It's no defensive three in the key, so a center can literally just chill in the paint all day.
And his own defense and all that.
Exactly. So in the NBA, the quality of defensive individual players is better. Obviously, it's more talented, but when it just comes to being able to get through that spacing, like, it's hard. And so you need to try and nitpick and see how you can start to break down defenses and get to your spots more easy. And so I'm here to say, bro, just play out the rest of the season, even if, like, obviously they're probably going to miss the NCAA tournament, but, like, bro, when y'all get to the SEC tournament, try and make the most of that. You know what I'm saying? This is a 1-year deal. You're never ever gonna suit up for South Carolina ever again. And you clearly have pride in your home state. You clearly want to give your home state some love. And South Carolina's had some talented players come out of there recently, like obviously John Morant, Zion Williamson, alongside others. But like you clearly, I feel like I don't want to say it like that. I was gonna say like I feel like he wanted to be there more than they probably wanted him, but I think it's probably mutual. But again, like, bro, you made your commitment, bro. Just play out the rest of the season. To your full advantage. Again, you're never ever gonna be able to put on that Gamecocks uniform ever again. So just make the most of it. Have fun, bro. Enjoy the little time left you have of being a college student and technically a kid, bro. Before you get to the NBA and things change.
100%. And he's still he just turned 18, right? So like he's super young, and I think he made the right decision in going to to South Carolina rather than going, because at North Carolina he may be stuck on the bench and playing limited minutes right now, and that hurts your stock even more than being just the big, being the guy with you're not playing with a bunch of other a lot of talent around you. And I think teams are going to see that more than you just being on the bench at even if it's North Carolina, so I think he made the right move there. And like I said, you can still do something and make some noise in the SEC tournament and all that, and surprise him. You never know, maybe they'd surprise him in the conference play and do some things. But and like I say, still needs to work on some things, especially on the defensive side of the ball and all that, and especially as a playmaker too. Like, yeah, you're not playing with guys who are probably pro level players, but you can still work on that, because the scouts are going to see that, okay, we know you're not playing with pro level players, but we've seen that you're making the right passes, you're making the right reads and all that. So I think it would be beneficial if he does stay and play it out. And I think there's just less questions that are going to be you have to answer, especially when you get to the combine. Because remember Jalen with Jalen Johnson at Duke. Like, even though that was a completely different situation because you had COVID and all that, he left the program, and that was unprecedented. Like, you don't see that a lot in college basketball. And well, what do we hear? Like, his commitment. When things get rough, he's not into it. You don't want to have to deal with that aspect too, because you're gonna have to deal with it, even if it is for to protect yourself. You're going to hear, that's all you're going to hear when you get the Chicago Combine. That's all you're going to hear. Oh, well, why'd you leave the program? Although, are you a team player? Or when things get bad, are you just going to quit? Those are things you're not going to have to hear if you just play it out. And yes, there is the risk of injury, but guess what? When you practice, you risk. Are we going to say like, well, why did he practice? Well, we can't live in that world where we're just going to be like, I understand this. He has a financial gain and all that, but I think you should ride it out. And like I said, you never know what happens. And I think that I actually benefit him, and his skill's not going away. We know what he can do. And like you said, college basketball, and we see this with a lot of kids coming out, and you see like why did we saw what he could do in high school, and then in college you don't see it, and like we see it the pros, you're like, oh, okay, that's who he really is. And I think that's not going away. His ability to be 6'10" with handles and get to his spots is not going away.
Anyway,
it's not going away. That's not going away. So I think he should ride it out and just see what happens. But he's made some good decisions so far. I think him going to South Carolina or North Carolina was a good move. It may have not, as far as a blue blood sense, but it's not always about going to the blue bloods. It's about where it's the best fit. And if he had gone to Carolina, I think he'd be lost on the shuffle right now. And, that would have hurt his stock even more. But I think he made the right move. And I think he will make the right move. I think he'll play it out. I think he'll play it out and all that. And I think, he'll finish the season, play good ball, and he'll be a top 5 pick because he's going to make the team very happy because he's super skilled. And he's not even supposed to be in college right now. So he ain't supposed to be in college right now. He's supposed to be in high school. Like this kid is, I don't care what this kid is special. Like, if there wasn't a guy named Victor Wembanyama I would even be mad if a team said, yo, we make him the top pick. Like, I know you got the Thompson twins out OT, but I'm more confident in his shooting than I am with the Thompson twins, and they're physical freaks and all that. But the shooting is and he could do that. at a high clip too. So
Mhm.
and the handle and all that, like it just. I saw a mock. Sometimes I get mad at mocks. I saw a mock and they had him like 17th, and they had the Knicks passing them up twice. I was like, first of all,
Oh man,
when I do the draft show, if I get invited back to do the draft show in New York for Knicks Fan TV, if they do that, I might stop being a fan.
you got to riot. You got to riot.
I got to riot. I'm gonna riot.
Yeah.
Because if they do that, I'm like, what? Now I just hope that he doesn't get to that point, because they would do something like that. So maybe that was the person's thinking, like the Knicks will mess it up and they'll pass on him, and then he'll become Donovan Mitchell and drop 71 points. God, that pissed me off so much. But it's like his bag is too real to not be a top 5 pick. So I think he'll make the right decision and all that. And eventually I think he'll stay. And but he's a talented kid, and he made the right decision.